Okay, I'm Cao Yin and the founding partner of the Digital Renaissance Foundation. And we are somehow a company try to bridge the European market as well as to the Chinese market. And also we are cooperating with several European marketplace as well as insurance platforms to establish their presence in China as well as those neighboring Southeastern countries. And previously, I was working in the Energy Bureau of the China government. And at that time, I was leading a very small task force inside the bureau. At that time, we tried to develop somehow a very small-scale pilot project utilizing blockchain into somehow the energy industry. And after a while, after that, we created a small company called Energy Blockchain Labs to help those energy companies utilizing blockchain technology to address those challenges ahead of them. I deeply believe that in the coming blockchain era, there will be no banks and trust companies or security companies even, since this kind of financial companies are very typically a middleman for somehow handling the trust between various kind of strange people and organizations. Nowadays we believe in banks so that we will deposit our assets and the money, even somehow cryptocurrencies, to those banks. But upon the distributed ledgers, I think that we will create a network that's the trust which is we call the trust for the people and the trust by the people and also trust of the people. So quite obviously no need for this kind of middleman to bridge the trust between those guys. So you see that actually those banks and other institutional financial companies, they are also transforming their role in the coming blockchain era. I am nominated by the Sinda Security Company as the chief blockchain expert, and we are also very closely working with those banks in China, security companies in China, trying to figure out what kind of rules those kind of we call centralized institutions can create value for our normal somehow individuals as well as for the industries. I don't think this is a very good idea. Banks, yes, banks and also bankers, they're actually changing. They're also somehow transforming their themselves to catering for the new era, for the new change. You see that bankers, what is the key we call the competitive edge of those bankers? Yes, they are good at learning, and also those guys are quite, smart, open to new ideas, to new business plans. So you see that those bankers, also even some big banks, they are somehow catering for the coming change of blockchain. So I just said that those bankers, they are trying to figure out what they can do, what they can serve, and what they can be in the blockchain. So I see that in the future, very obviously, those guys will still be somehow the center of information, but not necessarily the center of the money. They will be somehow the learning point, and also very importantly, they will enable other small and medium enterprises to create their own blockchain-based networks. We can see a lot of those illustrations like JP Morgan. JP Morgan, they issued their JP Morgan coin, and the JP Morgan coin now will become somehow the first ever decentralized private banker currency based on blockchain. So you see that actually JP Morgan is now revolutionized themselves, but still in the future, not necessarily there should be a JP Morgan bank, but there will be a JP Morgan coin. Actually, we have invested a lot of those European projects, including Polkadot, including other some very famous one. Also, we put our stake into those strategic projects. Likewise, we heavily invest into STO platform in EU, and this platform will be, I believe, that will be somehow the world's biggest first primary issuance platform, and the secondary will be the trading platform in the future of security of tokenized securities. So the question is that the answer is that I have a lot of those stocks of those companies, of those innovative companies, but not much cryptocurrencies in my wallet. This is a very good question. So currently, actually, I have no idea in the future somehow the form of those wallets or even those digital accounts in the future should be. What I can see is that currently all those digital wallets, all those physical, we call the cold wallets, are full of problems, like inconvenience to use. Also, somehow not that cheap. For Ledger, Ledger Nano, a French product, is in China costs about 1,000 RMB. This is not a small amount for some individual guys. So I see in the future that we will have some kind of we call it semi-centralized cryptocurrency accounts in some decentralized networks, maybe a banker chain or some trust chain maybe created by JP Morgan or maybe created by ADEX. So, but who knows? So I see that this somehow we create both convenient and semi or quasi decentralized way to keep or to store your cryptocurrencies and other form of your blockchain-based decentralized digital assets, or like the security tokens. So I think that's the future. Half centralized, half decentralized.